They traveled in silence until they reached the cutoff, heading into town. It was then Randy decided to let his father in on his decision. "Dad?"
"Yeah, I'm listening."
"Dad, about cricket." His father remained silent, keeping his attention focused on the road. The fact that the man wasn't staring at him was enough to give Randy the courage to continue. "Dad, I think I'm in love with her." When his father didn't comment, he pressed on. "I know she's getting ready to go to college, where she'll meet all kinds of guys, but before she leaves, I plan to tell her how I feel about her." Mr. Greebley finally commented.
"That's a pretty big admission. When are you planning on telling her?"
"Before the senior trip."
"Have you prepared yourself in case she doesn't reciprocate your feelings?"
Randy grunted. "I won't be any worse off than I am now. At least I'll know the truth and she'll know the truth, and I won't be trying to hide it from her anymore."
"And what if she admits she feels the same way? Long-distance romances are hell, son, and more often than not, they don't end up well."
"I don't know," Randy admitted honestly, then cast his father a grin. "Guess we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. Isn't that what Grandpa used to say?" His father chuckled in reply. The store was busy, as it usually was. Gregg Greebley pulled the truck around to the rear and backed in.
"I'm getting a few sacks of feed for the chickens. Can you go inside and sign for me?"
"Sure thing." Randy climbed out of the cab and went into the store. Rounding a rack of hunting attire, he approached the checkout desk. The same time a familiar figure walked over to the counter. "Oh, hey, Randy!" Cricket's cheeks were flushed, and she appeared out of breath. Something was up. "Hey, Crick, I didn't think you'd be working today." "Dad called me to come in for an hour or two, just to help with the rush. Hey, I'm glad you're here." Reaching out, she grabbed him by the arm. "Randy, I got accepted into Northern State up in Templeton. Isn't that fantastic? And better yet, the school already informed them I'll be the valedictorian, so my books and tuition are free for the first year. Isn't that great?" He couldn't help but revel in her enthusiasm. Smiling broadly, he swept her into a big hug, which she returned. The feel of her warm, firm body against his sent tingles over his skin, warning him of a possible change. Although he would have loved to keep holding her, he reluctantly pushed her away and forced a smile on his face. "That's terrific! I'm happy for you. Templeton? Wow, that's quite a distance away. They have an excellent nursing school." "Oh?" His eyes widened. "You've decided on that for your major?" "I've been thinking about it. I don't know." She smiled shyly. "I'm not real sure that's what I want to do, but I got 2 years to make my final decision. I can take all my prelim classes like English Lit and Advanced Algebra and all to begin with." He stared down at her, at the sparkle in her blue eyes. Involuntarily, his eyes dropped to her lips. They were wet-looking, inviting, so tempting. If only he could lean forward just another couple of inches.
"Cricket, up front!"
Mr. Summerlin called from where he was standing near the fishing tackle. "Gotta go," she whispered, adding a wink and a little wave. "See you tomorrow." She sauntered off, her hips swaying perkily as she departed. Randy stared, mesmerized by the sexy way she walked. Her jeans were just a tad on the tight side, riding low around the hips. Every now and then he caught a brief glimpse of flesh and the tiniest sliver of purple that had to be her underwear. His hands itched to touch her again. A hat was suddenly jammed over his head. Completely unaware of his father's presence, he reached to take it off when a hand jerked his away. "Hey!" A face shoved itself in front of his. His father's scowl stopped him in his tracks.
"That one looks good on you,"
the man noted in a voice that was too tense to ignore.
"I think we'll take it. Just add it to my bill, would you, Sherm?"
Randy swiveled around to see Sherman, one of the store's employees, scanning the tag on an identical ball cap. Reaching up, Randy started to remove the hat again when his father leaned in closer.
"Keep it on."
There was no mistaking the direct and angry order.
"Go wait for me in the truck."
Quietly, he hurried to return to their vehicle that was already loaded. Apparently, his father had come inside, wondering what was taking Randy so long. It was a good thing he had. Once he was inside the cab, he dropped the visor to where he could see into the built-in mirror. Cautiously, he slowly lifted the brim of the cap. Yep, the horns were back.